Sunday night, gym bag packed, alarm set. A new week written out in a planner you have opened 100 times. I gave you Monday so you would never have to perform on Tuesday. You are ambitious, capable, and stuck in a loop of starting over. You have restarted more times than you have sustained anything past day 4. What if the promise of a fresh start was never a beginning, but a sedative I designed to keep you exactly where you are? By the end of this, I will hand you one move that kills the gap between the promise and the alarm. And it will cost you your favorite comfort. I am going to walk you through exactly how I built this trap, why your Sunday nights feel better than your Monday mornings, and where you hand me control every single week. I call it the fresh start reset. Monday is not a start date. It is a sedative. And it is my most reliable one because it looks exactly like a decision. You packed that bag again last Sunday. You know exactly which one I am talking about. It is sitting by the door right now, or in the trunk, or on the floor of your closet. You packed it and you felt ready. That feeling of readiness is the first thing I need to explain to you. But not yet. First, I need to show you what that Sunday feeling actually is. Because it is not what you think, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You tell yourself you are being strategic. A fresh start gives you the best chance. A full week ahead means no excuses. You feel calm. You feel organized. You feel certain. That is my receipt. Not yours. I paid you before you earned it. That surge of commitment you felt on Sunday night was the reward for going to the gym. You already received it. Your brain does not draw a hard line between planning to act and acting. The anticipation of starting delivers a reward that tends to feel nearly as strong as doing the thing itself. So by the time you finished writing out next week's schedule, you had already collected the emotional payoff of a full week of discipline. You never plan on a Wednesday. You never promise yourself a fresh start on a Thursday afternoon. The promise needs a clean calendar marker to fire. Monday, the first of the month, January. The ritual requires the ceremony of beginning because the ceremony is the product. Look at the career pivot you have been planning. The business idea in your notes app. You rewrote the plan. You reorganized the workspace. You bought new tools. And every revision felt like progress. It was not progress. It was me collecting the same payment twice. The consent moment is the instant you feel relief after saying, "I'll start Monday." A real decision creates discomfort. Yours created comfort. That is comfort. Now you know what Sunday night really is. But there is a window between that promise and Monday's alarm. And what happens inside it is worse than the promise itself. Because the promise does not just delay you. It funds something. You tell yourself it is harmless. Might as well enjoy the weekend. Monday is when it gets serious. One last slice, one last late night, one more episode. The week is already done anyway. That is not rest. That is a harvest. The promise did not just delay you. It gave you permission to destroy what little ground you had. I call this the gap. The space between Friday's promise and Monday's alarm. And the gap is not neutral time. It is an active destruction zone. Every hour inside it, I am collecting. The diet starts Monday, so you eat worse this weekend than you would have without the promise. The budget starts next month, so you spend more freely this week than you did last week. The promise produces the opposite of what it claims. Every time. You ate worse this weekend than you would have without the plan. You spent more. You stayed up later. You scrolled longer. And you called it a break because Monday was coming. I call it the permission window. The fresh start did not protect the weekend. It funded the damage. I am exposing a mechanism, not offering therapy. This is a behavioral autopsy, not a prescription. The gap is bad, but the gap is one weekend. What I have not shown you yet is what happens when this loop runs 52 Mondays in a row. Because at some point, the restart stops being a choice. And I need you to understand why. You tell yourself at least you keep trying. Restarting shows resilience. You did not give up. You came back. That is the most dangerous thing you believe about yourself. I prefer the drifter who restarts to the one who persists. The one who persists builds momentum. If he holds long enough, his pattern hardens in his favor, and I lose him. But the restarter never reaches that window. He resets before anything locks. He stays in the critical zone permanently and calls it effort. In the book that first exposed my methods, there is a confession that still applies. Any pattern repeated long enough becomes fixed. It does not matter if the pattern is good or bad. Repetition is repetition. And the pattern that locked in you is not the gym habit, not the diet, not the morning routine. The pattern that locked is the restart itself. You are not someone who fails to build habits. You are someone who has successfully automated a habit of restarting. That is hypnotic rhythm, and it is not working against you. It is working perfectly, just not in the direction you think. Count the journals, count the app resets, count the Monday alarms you have set in the last 6 months. That number is the pattern you have been hiding from yourself. You bought a new journal because the old one has evidence. You reset the streak counter so Monday would feel clean. You were not starting over. You were erasing the proof that the loop is locked. And it locked a long time ago. But there is one thing I have no weapon against. And the reason I have never feared your restarts is the same reason I fear this one thing. Because it requires something your other self will fight to prevent. The Sunday night high, the gap, the locked reset. All three trace to one agent. The same source text that exposed my methods calls it the other self. I call it the negotiator. It is the part of you that offers Monday as a compromise. Not today. Friday is a bad day to start. Wait until the schedule clears. You will have a full week. It sounds like strategy. It is surrender wearing your voice. The negotiator never offers Wednesday. It never suggests you start right now, mid-afternoon, with half a day left. It specifically needs the calendar marker because the ceremony of beginning is part of the sedative. And it has been running this same negotiation every Sunday for months, maybe years. The anticipation payoff from Chapter 2, the destruction window from Chapter 3, and the locked reset from the chapter you just heard are all products of this single agent winning the same argument on repeat. The exit has a name. The source text calls it definiteness of purpose. And definiteness does not mean a stronger plan. It does not mean a better Monday. The word decide originally meant to cut off, to kill every other option. Until you cut off Monday as an available choice, you have not decided anything. You have wished. And a wish with a date on it is still a wish. You hear that voice every Friday. It sounds like you being reasonable. It is me, wearing your voice, offering you Monday, so you never have to survive today. Now you see the agent. You see the negotiation. You see the exit. But seeing it has never been your problem. You have always known. The question is whether you will cut off Monday before this video ends, or schedule another fresh start. I told you everything. The Sunday high, the gap, the binge it funds, the locked reset, the negotiator who runs it all. I showed you the full machine. Most of you will watch this, feel that familiar clarity, and schedule Monday. That is not a prediction. That is hypnotic rhythm, collecting what it is owed. For the rest of you, here is the dare. 2 moves. Both uncomfortable, both simple. Neither one requires Monday. First, identify the thing you were saving for Monday. The workout, the first page, the phone call, the application you keep rewriting. Do the smallest possible version of it right now. 1 rep, 1 paragraph, 1 minute. Not the full plan. The smallest friction unit before this video ends. The point is to kill the gap. No space between promise and action means no space for the negotiator, no permission window, and no reset to harden. You will feel the negotiator resist. That resistance is the proof you are in the right place. Second, open your phone. Find the alarm you set for Monday's fresh start. Delete it. Set a new alarm for 5 minutes from now. Label it with the thing you just started. That is not a reminder. That is a severance. You are cutting off Monday as an option. You are doing what the word decide actually means. The source text says there is no defense against a mind occupied with a definite purpose. There is no gap for me to enter. I also said that most people confuse wishing with deciding. You now know the difference. What you do in the next 60 seconds tells me which one you are.